This is the deck for Black Swan. There's no doubt in my mind. Every other Black Swan deck is better if you cut her, but this one, she shines. Welcome back to the Speci Snap channel. It's been a couple of weeks since my last deck guide, but I'm really thrilled at the sight of the new OTA, which includes some really interesting changes. Couple of cards in here have been impacted by the OTA, and this is the best movement deck in the game. I posted a video quite similar to this a couple of weeks ago. It didn't really perform very well, which is quite disheartening because this deck is absolutely ridiculous. Vulture is now getting buffed by 6 points whenever it moves, and this deck can move Vulture a whole bunch of times. It is extraordinarily good in this deck. It was already very good, and it just got even better. Our other main movement target in this deck is the wonderful Human Torch. And before you click off the video, roll your eyes and say, well, Speci, I don't want to get Killmongered and Shang-Chi'd for 8 cubes. Well, this Human Torch deck can avoid that because we are bouncing the Human Torch back into our hand, reducing its cost to 0, and then often just playing it again on turn 6. Of course, that means that we'll have very few points on the board going into the last turn. It's very likely our opponent will have initiative, playing their cards first, and therefore we can dodge the Shang-Chi's and the Killmongers with ease. You might also think we'll be playing Dagger, but you would be mistaken. In fact, Dagger is the card I cut right at the end. You could include her, and I'll talk about some of the different considerations, but with this deck, we're looking to do lots of movement plays early on, bouncing our movement cards back into hand, and then rinsing and repeating. What often happens, therefore, is if Dagger is your move target early on, there's only 1 or 2 cards in the opposite location for Dagger to be getting points from. She's just very lackluster when compared with Vulture and Human Torch in this style of deck. You can absolutely play her. She can play for a lot of points, but I think you're better off without her. We are, however, playing Spider-Man 2099, a card which has grown on me a lot. It feels pretty damn good in this metagame. There's a lot of decks which aren't playing that many cards, and therefore on turn 5 you can set up a targeted snipe. Spider-Man 2099 isn't the most amazing card, but it's an exciting and fun one to play. Again, you could replace the Spider-Man 2099 for a Magneto, but I think the Spider-Man is worth it. Unsurprisingly, we're going to be building up towards a finisher of Heimdall. Now, Heimdall is a very underrated card in Marvel Snap because a lot of people play it very wrong. They just slam Heimdall without thinking, and then they don't consider the fact that their opponent is often going to play to beat Heimdall. So a big part of the value of Heimdall is having the threat of Heimdall, but then just deciding to do something very different. That's why Magneto is a very serious consideration in this deck instead of Spider-Man 2099. Magneto can be an alternative turn 6 play instead of the Heimdall. However, I found that Spider-Man 2099 is also a pretty good option on turn 6 often. Combining it with an Iron Fist or a Ghost Spider can still surprise your opponent in a big way and get you lots of cubes. Unsurprisingly, we're playing Iron Fist, Ghost Spider. Nico's great in this deck as well, mainly for her movement ability, but also the ability to add power to the next card that you play is great with Human Torch. Forge did have a place in this deck previously, but with its nerf, we are instead going for the OG mascot of the Speci Snap channel, the Amercia Chavez. I straight up refused to play this card at 2 energy and 3 power, but now I'm very interested in her as a 1-cost card. This is a really interesting ability in this deck. If we can buff up the Human Torch in particular, our curve is just extraordinary. Previously, if you were to play Forge on turn 1, you couldn't then buff up your Human Torch and move it with Iron Fist. You would have to pick one or the other. But because with Chavez, you could just buff your Human Torch and then on turn 2, play your Iron Fist and Human Torch. In theory, the ceiling for this deck has increased. Of course, then we're going to be playing our 2 bounce tools, which are Beast as well as Falcon. And the Speci secret source is the Black Swan. This is a card which has not been well received overall. She did probably become a little bit more of a serious option in Thanos decks because of the Lockjaw change, although I would wager she still doesn't make the cut. However, in bounce decks, she is great. In particular, in this bounce deck, because on turn 5, we can go either Falcon and Beast, plus Black Swan, bouncing back our 1-cost cards into our hand, meaning that we lose initiative, we can't really get Shang-Chi'd or Killmongered, we can play Heimdall as well as all of our 1-drops on the final turn, or we could play Spider-Man 2099 plus all of our 1-drops on the final turn. Our opponent isn't going to know where any of our points are. We might have like a 32-point torch potentially, which we could put in any location we desire. It is just amazing in this deck, and it is the best Black Swan deck you will find without doubt. The last card's the most flexible slot. I mentioned Dagger, I mentioned Magneto. However, Hulkbuster is the clear choice for me. Hulkbuster has a little bit of extra synergy with Amercia Chavez, because if Hulkbuster gets buffed, that's even more odds that your Human Torch can get supercharged. And that's why the Hulkbuster is in the deck. Without the help of Forge, the Human Torch can often feel quite lackluster, but Hulkbuster can be added onto your Human Torch, spiraling out of control, particularly when you bounce it back into your hand and move it a couple more times. It's just a really great card with Torch, and you can't really go wrong for that reason. So that is the 12 cards. Again, I think I want to give considerations to Dagger and Magneto in particular, but this is a great deck and very well refined. I think it's going to have a lot of success for you. If you enjoyed this starter deck guide, let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video for more Marvel Snap deck guides. Okay then. Well, Human Torch, probably off to the far right. Makes the most sense. There's an argument just to play it left and keep it safe. But if we find, like, Iron Fist, we would want to Iron Fist before Hulkbuster. Probably better off just playing it in Citadel to be safe here, rather than taking a risk into an unknown location. I think we can snap Strange Academy. Hulkbuster makes more sense for the curve. We're looking for Ghost Spider or a way of bouncing Human Torch back. Okay, that's spooky, but Spider-Man 2099 can do the business, potentially. Ghost Spider has to be played here. It's too good not to. And we probably just go mid with both. Sets up Beast play. But also Strange Academy is where we want the Human Torch. Doesn't take long for the Human Torch to get out of control. So the Hulkbuster being 2 cost is actually a huge deal for this deck as well. It's a really nice buff. Nice. Well, that went well. Most likely we just take the Vulture here and then we go Beast, Black Swan next turn. Which means I can replay all of my 1-drops. Including any 1-drops in hand. Having said that, there's not like... If I'm Beasting and Black Swanning, they do the same thing, right? Which is the concern. So there's an argument I could just Beast them now, and then if I find Falcon, I could bounce them all back. But I think we just want the Vulture. I can't go Black Swan and Vulture on the next turn, so if I want to play Vulture, I have to play it now. The sad thing is I obviously want Vulture into Strange Academy as well. And I want to get Strange Academy value. So actually, perhaps what we're determining is I'm actually more interested in just bouncing these cards back now, and then getting more Strange Academy value. I think this is a little bit of an awkward one. If I find Falcon, we're laughing anyway. But again, like, maybe I just want the Vulture and the Human Torch into Strange Academy anyways, right? Like, I could obviously go Black Swan and then not play any of this, but I can't play both. Nico's doubling her own power. So the other thing to consider with Human Torch is that I'm going to be putting all the stats into one lane. So while it's tempting to do this, and then this, right? If the Vulture and the Human Torch end up in the same lane, all my points are there. But I think we'll go for it still, sod it. $10-point Torch, 20-point Torch. Let's just hope the Torch and the Vulture go their separate ways. Worst case as well is like Beast and Ghost Spider both end up down to the left here. I wasn't even worried. I was so worried. Okay, Beast and Human Torch go to the same location. Not ideal. At least we have the left lane secured though. Now we have the decision on if we go mid or right. I mean, there's a Dracula there. That's quite scary. They have 3 cards in hand. Pretty sure we didn't see any evidence of a... I mean, it's also quite possible they go Magneto. Magneto moves the Vulture. Let's just go mid. We didn't see an Apocalypse. It is Hela. Magneto moves Vulture as predicted. Hello. There's the Apocalypse for the Dracula. And we get the victory. Vulture being the anti-Magneto play. Really cool. Deck is feeling very, very strong. No doubt about it. Right, we're up against another Thanos gamer. With 18 cards in the deck. Deck's just feeling great so far. Nico. Don't think we're interested in the card draw. So we'll just hold. Hold. Relax. Nico becomes a demon. The next card I play becomes a demon, I should say. I mean, we could. We could. Even if I just go Falcon next turn, it's kind of fine-ish. Definitely not ideal. So I get a Falcon, Demon down into the big house. Looks like a retreat kind of game. Oh, Lockjaw. Zabu Lockjaw. That's kind of gross. The cat and the dog. This feels like we can go next, to be honest. It's Black Swan now. Maybe we can have an explosive next turn. Shuri's Lab is interesting. Pretty bad for Lockjaw. Pretty awful for Lockjaw. Very awful for Lockjaw. It's like they knew it was going to happen, brev. Mate, this is filthy. The big question is, do we even play the Ghost Spider yet? Could we just not play the Ghost Spider on the last turn? It's kind of more surprise value, right? What if we don't even play the Spider-Man? What if we just play for more stats? Like we do this. And then we just go Spider-Man, Ghost Spider last turn. It's like kind of wonky, but I think it makes sense. We're stacking points mid as much as possible. And we're hiding our true intentions. You don't need to maximize points every game in Marvel Snap. Sometimes, a lot of the time, it's about surprising your opponent and having surprise value. If they saw this huge Spider-Man come through last turn, there's a good chance they would have run away. Here, however, Alioth is, of course, a concern for us. But I just pretend that card doesn't exist because the game would be better without it. Ugh. We walked into a fat Shang-Chi, so we lose still. Even if we hit the blue marble, they still beat us. This was such a saucy play as well. Sad. GG though. Zabu allowing Shang-Chi to go down into big house. Pretty heartbreaking. Oh, right. Human Torch is a rip. Let's go for the Iron Fist first. We're up against Thanos. Thanos should be in a pretty good spot. He can go Time Stone on 2, Lockjaw on 3. Pretty good curve. Now, probably still just play it like this. We want to get all 3 of these into the same location for the sake of Beast. These are our priority bounce targets. Oh, how interesting. Probably good for us. Maybe. I don't know. Awkward hand state for now. Not looking like we're too interested in Heimdalling with Bar with no name being around. Nico could give us a replacement on Bar. Beast is huge here. .0 Vulture. I mean, I guess why not? We should hold on to it, right? We have Iron Fist. Ghost Spider. We should probably hold on to it. I could see the Chavez being worth this, like minus a point, but... Buffs whatever we draw. Nico's still pretty interesting here. Nice. Human Torch dodges the Killmonger. Heh. Kinda sad. Unfortunately, what I did not do a great job of is I am unable to Ghost Spider this, but I could do this. Oops. The question is it really worth it? I think we want to just put as many stats into our Iron Fist as possible, right? So we go... Alright, what we do is Human Torch. Check. Iron Fist. Check. Hulkbuster. Check. Bang. And we'll also play the Nico because she's worth a few more. So, Nico first. Human Torch mid.
Don't you think about it.
Let's go for it, ladies and gents. They run. Oh, I should have just stayed in, man, for the content. Shouldn't be snapping, right? Just want to see that played out. Okay, so Deep Space definitely an awkward one. Let's go Iron Fist into Human Torch. Can start like bouncing stuff back. Ideally, you wait with the Iron Fist until Hulkbuster comes through. Uh-oh. I mean, these locations. Pretty disastrous. Falcon would be great because it turns into a demon. Well, that's pretty solid. Oh, look at that. Ask and you shall receive, apparently. So we get the Abby card draw, we get a demon, and we get everything back in hand. Really, really saucy. They try and sacrifice the Iron Fist. Not today, my friend. Oh. Okay, still not loving the magic. If we can Nico to replace that, we probably do. Magic is pretty bad for us overall. Next card, after you play your next card, give it +2 power. That sounds really good on Iron Fist. On Human Torch, rather. To be fair. Oh, this didn't get buffed either because of Deep Space. It registered when it was here. The Iron Fist is good on Spider-Man as well, so we shouldn't rush that. I can see us just playing Chavez for stats here off to the left. Could have also just held on to her for now. Quite possible. Next card we play gets moved. I mean, we could try this. We could just play Vulture too, right? Might just be better off doing that. I mean, could be worse. Certainly could be worse. I'm kind of interested in beasting. The problem is obviously that I don't have the energy. Kind of cute to do this. I imagine we're losing, but I'm going to try it. I'll play it out for the content. I think this is probably a leave the game kind of situation because of the Infinite She-Hulk, but it is pretty spicy. They might not see it coming. The Ghost Spider Shuffle. Heimdall dodges the Shang. All eyes on Sunspot still. The She-Hulk ties. No! Tiebreaker by 1! Let's go! Never in doubt. The tiebreaker win by 1. The Ghost Spider slide. Hello. Turn 7. That's definitely something we want to consider in the way we play. We could, of course, go Human Torch, Ghost Spider, and then start bouncing it. With this deck, we don't have Forge anymore, right? So there's kind of no risk. We're going to play Human Torch off to the right here. The reason for this is that I can then safely Ghost Spider the left, and I can never get done by a dodgy location because I just played Ghost Spider this turn, probably. Now, what I also might want to do is try and wait for Hulkbuster, right? If I find Hulkbuster, for example, bang. But we don't. So we're going to move the Human Torch over into the Chavez lane. Chavez might buff the Hulkbuster as well now, right? That's another benefit about having Hulkbuster in the deck. There's another opportunity for Chavez to get some really good value here. Of course, I'd rather Falcon these and beast them later, but looks like we're going to be beasting them. New York, is that snappable? I'm pretty put off by Limbo, so I'm not going to go for it. Okay, first time seeing this card. I haven't been playing this week or last 2 weeks. Discard 2 cards from your hand to get max 1 energy. Seems like a good card. It's like an an Electro ramp card. Probably play Hela as one of the top end options. Okay, we find the Falcon. That's really nice. So we can go Chavez again. And we can actually just Falcon this turn as well. So we play all 3, we bounce them all back. Pretty cool. They hit Ghost Rider, that's pretty saucy. Imagine they have a Hela as well. Chavez feels nice at 1. Big fan of this change. I was really happy to see Chavez reworked because I think her previous ability was far too strong. But the rework they gave her was so lame. But this feels like a nice card now. This feels really nice. And I did think Forge was overpowered as well. So these all cost 1 now, of course. I'm pretty tempted by the Spider-Man. In all honesty. Because we can Black Swan on the last turn. We don't get... Of course, I'd like to get the Human Torch into New York value. That is really enticing. But I still have Iron Fist for the Human Torch I'd like to have as well. So I think let's go for the Spider-Man. And I'm going to play it mid. I don't have to move it into New York. Oh my god, it was Agatha all along. Pretty cool. We probably just don't move it, right? Because we can Heimdall it later. Nico, move something to the right this turn. It's pretty interesting. Let's move both of these and not move the Spider-Man. And let's play Black Swan. Nothing else. We could also play the Chavez because Chavez is giving us 2 points. The thing is, the only card I can play is the Iron Fist. So if I play Chavez now, I get extra Iron Fist points, but I'm not going to be able to afford anything else. So I actually think we just hold on to her to have the element of surprise. Let's snap it, sod it. Let's go confidently. We could also have gone for the Nico, right? To actually get the move on her. Because then we could have gone Nico, Human Torch, Ghost Spider, Heimdall, and we'd have like the biggest Human Torch of all time. Now it's going to be really important for us as well to end up with lots of points in 2 different locations and not do what we did in the last game, which is overcommit to the left too much. Yeah, so they kind of anticipated the Spider-Man move, which was something I was never interested in, really. Wait, they're discarding... Please discard Hela. Okay, they don't even have Hela. So Hela's bottom card of the deck, assuming they do actually play it. Now, the other thing that's very interesting here is obviously the Heimdall is like pretty awful, right? It's pretty terrible. Quite interesting. And I didn't help myself by filling up New York so much. I think it was a misplay. So it's quite possible we don't even bother with Heimdall. I mean, if we assume that it is Hela, they have Leader, Iron Man, Ghost Rider, Doom. So we'd want to play the biggest card off to the right anyways to stop the Leader. I could see us like just completely investing down the middle. So we do something like this. Let's give it a try. Unorthodox.
Minions to me.
Doom rules all.
Played around the Leader. They expected the Iron Fist. Sorry, the Heimdall. And this is what I'm saying about Heimdall. Often the value of Heimdall is not actually playing it, right? Like, we didn't really get much move value here, but we just didn't need it. We just read the situation. They played to beat Heimdall, and we just don't play it. And this is why something like a Magneto would be a nice option. I just am preferring the Spider-Man 2099 at the moment. I haven't really got time for many more games, unfortunately. Let's start off with a good, honest torch. Of course, we'd rather Hulkbuster it before we go Spider it, so that's worth considering. Whoop. That's a lot of cards. Nico's really good with the double power when you can bounce her. She can get really out of hand very quickly, especially with Hulkbuster, right? If you can Hulkbuster this Nico, oof. Oh, I'll take a Daredevil. Don't think we want to play the Snow God. Hulkbuster on anything but the Nico, please. I meant anything but the Ghost Spider. RIP. I wanted it on anything but the Ghost Spider. It was great on the Torch, great on the Nico. Oh, I'll take a 5-point Daredevil. Thanks, mate. Is everything okay? You cheeky little grubber muffin. Unfortunately, no sign of a bounce tool here. I don't hate the look of Leech. It could work. They snap. I can't back off. I can't back down. I can't give up or give in. I'm definitely quite spooked. Okay. I mean, I guess they're hellaring us. Wouldn't it be a shame if I had a random Leech to counter the Hela play? That would be such a shame. So sad. Hehehe. Oh, would be a shame if I leeched their thingamajigambabobber. Of course, the card they top deck doesn't get leeched. So there's like a 1 in... I guess like a 1 in 6 if they're playing both Hela and Annihilus, that they find one of them. But Leech gets the job done, just about. And we just sat the left here because we know how many points they have. Alright, first game up against Mummy, question mark. I haven't played Snap in a while. Been on a bit of a break. Been really into Disney Lorcana. So the first Nico we're seeing is moving the next card we play to the right. So I guess we go for it still nice and early here. We could always just skip turn 2. Now, one problem that we do have with Dagger in a bounce deck like this is that Dagger isn't generally getting that much value early on in the game, and we're therefore going to be looking to be targeting a card like Vulture early on or Human Torch to get more value. Dagger is just more of a late game play. We do find dagger. We could go for the dagger. Our opponent snaps, which is a little bit concerning. Honestly, playing the dagger on a board like this just doesn't really look like a good idea. So I think we're going to skip. I'm tempted to retreat, but it's the first game with the deck. Let's see what we've got up our sleeve. We can go for the Vulture now. Obviously, having to skip the whole turn, less than ideal. We don't really want our Vulture into Clintar. We could, of course, consider going for something like a Human Torch here instead, but I think we'll take the Vulture. Suppose we throw the Djinn over into Clintar, though. Not going to snap back. Just going to stay nice and relaxed for now. Nico does the job. Of course, skipping turn 2, not ideal, but definitely worth it. Magic comes through. Unfortunately, we don't have any way of disrupting that. Magic and Morbius. Possibly a Hela deck, I suppose. Based off the avatar, it wouldn't be too surprising. Now, okay, we're going to snap, ladies and gentlemen. We have initiative. And moreover, we have the Spider-Man onto Morbius. That is filthy. That is pretty gross. The question with our Iron Fist is, do we want to sacrifice it into Clintar? And we probably don't. We probably want to pick the Iron Fist back up. I will sacrifice the Djinn into Clintar, though, because it's just taking up valuable board space that we don't really have. But this is beautiful. The 2099 doing the business. See you later, alligator. I am pretty scared still about the Titan, the Limbo. Of course, we don't actually have any location disruption. So we could still be getting whitewashed by something like a Living Tribunal, perhaps. We find the Heimdall. We could, of course, take it now. Move the Vulture, move the Spider-Man. The Spider-Man only triggers once. I guess we're just going Dagger, Black Swan. We should probably play it in this order as well. Like, we want to make sure that the cards we're playing are going to be getting moved by Heimdall that we want to. Like, we want the Vulture to get moved, and we like the Dagger to get moved. We'd also probably like the Human Torch to get moved, but I would imagine we actually end up slamming the Heimdall now, potentially. I don't know. That's a pretty big dude. So we could take Beast. Everything's going to cost... All these three will cost nothing. Does seem like the best idea. Obviously, the extra turn has not helped us out here at all. Magic pretty good against us. But I'm not too threatened overall. So we can play the whole hand. Nico is doubling herself. That's kind of nice. We need only... If I want to move the Vulture in, I need one card here max. We're kind of low on cards. We can play it like this, I guess, but then the Human Torch doesn't move. So I could Iron Fist here, Human Torch here. If we want the Vulture to move, I can't play everything, basically. That's the issue we have. So... We're always playing Nico. She's just a strict 4 points. We actually get the Human Torch move. So if I play Iron Fist, my Vulture doesn't move. And my Dagger wouldn't move, so we shouldn't play it. There she comes. It's not the biggest Hela I've ever seen, that's for sure. Looks like we're winning. We are pretty high on the rank ladder. I'm like rank 5,000 in the world right now. The Dagger's not great into the Infernaut. That's spooky. We put too many points off to the left, and we are moving the Human Torch, but I don't think it's enough. We split our lanes in a pretty disastrous manner. It's all gone a bit pear-shaped, and that's kind of the problem you can see with Heimdall, right? When people know it's coming. So this is where it would be nice to have a different option, like something like a Magneto. We ended up putting way too many points off to the left, not enough mid. Even though the Hela sucked, we still lost 8. Sad. Okay, opponent's ranked 1,900th in the world. Kamartage looks very, very enticing. We have Nico first. After you play your next card, give it +2 power. Obviously nice if we find Iron Fist, but let's go for the Chavez into Kamartage. I think we have to snap this. I think we got to snap this. I should probably put myself off to the left side too, right? Oh, good game. How exciting. We were just kids playing in the rain. When you lose someone. Okay. So, the first question on Human Torch is, should we play it now? The other card, by the way, we could be playing in this deck is Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster on Torch, kind of insane. It would be Dagger probably that would go for it, because Dagger's not that good early on, bouncing around. Could also cut the Spider-Man 2099. I guess we do play it still. We don't have Forge anymore, so it's only Iron Fist. Iron Fist has good targets later anyways. Definitely an awkward one. Kind of just hoping they retreat. That's my game plan here. They still didn't play anything. Hello? We could make an interesting play with something like this here. So Spider-Man's removing whatever this is. Oh, nice Iron Lad Jeff man you've got there. That's kind of good. Wouldn't it be a shame if it was to get absolutely dominated? So the Nico is what got buffed by Chavez. Nico does actually have this like little bit of location removal as well. See you later, Jeff. That is just wonderful. Spider-Man's been very, very good so far. Surely they cannot stay. So we do find the Heimdall, so that's of course a reasonable option. Probably the only option. And this is kind of the problem when you play Heimdall and not like another big card. We are somewhat forced to make this line, but I think it's fine still. We're going to go for the middle win. We could of course put Heimdall off to the right, put 9 points off to the right. And then we would still have 7 plus Dagger to the middle. And you can see the Dagger could definitely go overall. I do think the Dagger's super cuttable, perhaps for a Hulkbuster.